You stayed calm today when a stranger's shoulder clipped yours in a doorway. Didn't flinch. Then you walked in your own front door, coat still on, and someone you love asked what you wanted for dinner. Something cracked. Hold that image. Strangers got the professional version. The barista, the coworker, the person who cut you off in the parking lot. Calm, patient, fine. Your family got what was left. A hollow outline walking through the door. Why does the brain run that way? Why does it hand patience to strangers, then save the wreckage for the people it loves most? The answer isn't what you think, and once you understand the mechanism, you'll know why the people who get your worst are the ones your brain trusts most. In 1998, Baumeister and Mark Muraven at Case Western Reserve University ran experiments that changed how psychology thinks about self-control. They put people in a room with warm cookies and radishes. One group could only eat the radishes. Then both groups attempted an impossible puzzle. The radish eaters gave up in barely half the time. Not a little sooner. Half. Baumeister called it ego depletion. Self-control isn't a character trait, it's a resource. Spend it like money. When the account runs low, every subsequent act of restraint costs more. Think about what a workday costs. You swallowed a comment in a meeting, smiled at a client who was wrong. 6 hours of small frictions, each one a withdrawal. How many times did you hold the professional version of yourself in place? By the time the front door opens, most of that budget is gone. The people you were most careful with all day weren't the ones waiting at home. But the budget model leaves one question open. Colleagues pull from the same account. You held it together for all of them. So why not for the people in your own kitchen? Because your brain doesn't calculate the cost of a mistake the same way for both groups. With strangers, the amygdala runs a threat assessment. What happens if I lose control here? Reputation, employment, social cost. The risk keeps the mask on. With attachment figures, that calculation shifts. Your brain has registered. This person has seen my worst and stayed. The cost of releasing drops towards zero. Permission granted. Not because you love them less, because it trusts them more. It didn't start at your front door, either. John Bowlby at the Tavistock Clinic in London tracked this through the 1960s and 70s. He and Mary Ainsworth at Johns Hopkins, published in 1969, found that children reserve their most intense protests for the primary caregiver. Safety and protest share the same address. Think about the last time you released at home. Was what triggered you even about the person in the room? You've been running that algorithm ever since. When the permission slip gets used consistently, a second effect accumulates. John Gottman's Love Lab at the University of Washington tracked 700 couples through the 1980s and 1990s. In distressed relationships, partners misread neutral gestures as hostile, a question read as criticism, silence as contempt. He called it negative sentiment override. Too many released moments build a filter. The account isn't just low, it's reading neutral as threat. So what lights the fuse from that state? That's what Chapter 3 answers. Some of you are thinking, everyone comes home tired. Why does it hit harder for some? Elaine Aron at Stony Brook University documented this in 1997. She called it sensory processing sensitivity. Roughly 15 to 19% of the population processes emotional input more deeply, absorbing ambient stress at higher rates. If you're in that group, you arrive home carrying more. Not because your day was harder, because your nervous system runs at higher resolution. A wiring difference. It has a name, but there's a faster mechanism that can fire the same hour. Gottman's Love Lab data identified a specific threshold, 100 beats per minute. When heart rate crosses that number, a state he called physiological flooding, the prefrontal cortex steps back. Empathy and impulse filtering stop. The family member who asked about dinner is now a threat. What they said barely registers. Think about the last time this happened, what they asked, and what your body responded to instead. A companion Baumeister and Muraven study showed that suppressing one emotion degraded self-control on an unrelated task 20 minutes later. Different emotion, different situation. The resource transferred. Most people hear this and read it as a confession. Wrong interpretation. The brain doesn't grant that permission to people it doesn't care about. It grants it to people it trusts enough to stay. The partner who gets the snap. The child who gets the short answer. Safe enough to drop the mask. The budget gets spent performing for the world. The remainder goes to the people your brain considers home. That isn't evidence of a failing relationship. It's an accidental measurement of trust. So the next time you walk in your own front door, coat still on, and something cracks before your shoes come off, you'll know what happened. Not what you chose, what ran out. The person who asked about dinner isn't the reason. They're the one your brain trusted enough to stop pretending for. Hardest way to love someone. Most honest one. If this landed, the next piece is about where that pattern starts. It's called, if you can't ask for help, you probably grew up too fast.